Good evening and welcome to the briefing room. I'm Madhavdas G. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we're talking about whether our passport, the document that carries the name and emblem of the Indian Republic, is it the ultimate proof of our citizenship or not? For most Indians, the answer would be yes. But under the law, the answer is quite different. On 24th of June, that is on the day of Passport Seva Divas, the Ministry of External Affairs clarified that an Indian passport is strictly a travel document, not a conclusive proof of citizenship. A clarification that may challenge popular perception, because for every Indian traveling abroad, the passport is a document that represents the country and their identity as an Indian. And it is this gap between public understanding and legal position that has sparked a massive political showdown, with the opposition targeting the centre over the passport paradox. Before we tell you more about the passport row, let's briefly tell you about the Citizenship Act 1955. What exactly does the Citizenship Act say? Let's take a look at this. Now, this act, of course, governs the acquisition of Indian nationality. Let's quickly tell you more in terms of what it outlines in terms of the paths for losing citizenship. They've also, of course, talked about it's prohibiting, of course, dual citizenship status, and also talks about the manners in which citizenship can be acquired, empowers Parliament to regulate rights that are in fact associated with citizenship, frequently amended to face the realities on ground. It was amended in 2003, I beg your pardon, where the OCI card was introduced without voting rights. There's also in 2019, we've seen how CA has brought in, which granted citizenship to persecuted minorities from neighboring countries as well. So these are some of the amendments that have taken place as far as the Citizenship Act is concerned. Now, a passport may carry the name of the Indian Republic, but the law makes one thing very clear. There is a clear distinction between a passport and citizenship. The Bombay High Court in 2013 has observed that a passport alone is not conclusive proof of citizenship. The ruling also said that citizenship is determined under the Citizenship Act 1955, while a passport simply remains a travel document that has been issued by the government.
Citizen कौन होगा उसके बारे में लिखा है, प्रावधान दिए हैं, तो उन्हीं को ही मानना पड़ेगा ना, संविधान को ही मानना पड़ेगा। अब वो संविधान को लेकर के घूमते हैं कि हम संविधान की रक्षा करने वाले लोग हैं, और अंदर क्या लिखा हुआ पढ़ते नहीं है, और अननेसेसरी के मुद्दे उठा करके देश को बदनाम करने का काम करते हैं।
Let's now get you the clause from the Passport Act 1967 that clears the confusion between having a passport and being an Indian citizen. Section 20 of the Passport Act empowers the government regarding non-citizen issuance, meaning that the Indian government has the legal power to issue an official Indian passport to someone who's not an Indian citizen. This overrides the standard passport issuance rules, because normally only Indian nationals get Indian passports. This section acts as a legal loophole to bypass that standard rule. Now, this requires essential public interest as a justification. The condition being, the government cannot just hand passports out randomly. They can only issue a passport to a foreigner if it strictly serves the quote-unquote public interest. It also aids stateless persons and refugees. The real-world use, in fact, this rule exists primarily to help refugees, such as Tibetans living in India, who belong to a place where no country, or there is no recognized country, but in fact, they desperately need travel documents for various purposes. It proves that passports do not guarantee citizenship. The takeaway is that because a foreigner can legally hold an Indian passport under the specific rule, holding a passport is not bulletproof in terms of legal evidence that you're an Indian citizen. Now, the MEA's remarks on the passport have triggered a political row. Opposition parties are now questioning the government's position. The UBT Sena has attacked the centre over creating the passport versus citizenship confusion. MIM has said that in coming years, BJP membership will become the ultimate proof of citizenship, while the centre very clearly says that it's only quoting the 1967 Passport Act.
पासपोर्ट देने के लिए पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन होता है, वो प्रूफ नहीं है, बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट प्रूफ नहीं है, आधार कार्ड प्रूफ नहीं है, वोटर आईडी कार्ड प्रूफ नहीं है। भाई क्या प्रूफ है फिर?
पासपोर्ट अकेले से आपका जो नागरिकता है वो नहीं बताता है। ये ओवैसी ऐसा उकसाने के लिए बोलते हैं, वो बीजेपी को पसंद नहीं करते हैं, इसलिए बदनाम करते रहते हैं।
पासपोर्ट इशू करने से पहले जो सरकार जांच करती है, जो पुलिस वाला घर आता है, वो क्यों आते हैं? पासपोर्ट नागरिकता का प्रमाण नहीं है, तो नागरिकता का प्रमाण है क्या? मोदी जी का चरण वंदन।
Don't be surprised if tomorrow the government comes up with a clause saying that if you become a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, you prove yourself to be the citizen of India.
This is a joke. I think the MEA is confused and the minister needs to be sacked for his mess up in foreign policy and now constant mess ups like this and the trouble he is giving to Indian citizens abroad.
And for more on this entire controversy surrounding the issue of passport, we have with us Mr. Harish Salve, who is, of course, a senior advocate, has been a former Solicitor General of India, and also, of course, is one of India's top legal voices. Mr. Salve, a statement that MEA has issued saying that a passport is a travel document, not a document of citizenship, has triggered a major political controversy. Opposition leaders are questioning what then constitutes proof of citizenship. And before we get into the politics, can you explain the legal distinction between a passport and citizenship, and whether this position taken by the government is actually new or has always been the law?
So I think things are going well in India that we have things like this, which is occupying mind space. It's such a non-issue. It's complete confusion. Passport is a travel document. What do we mean by that? That means that if I want to travel from India to United Kingdom or to France or to Italy or Spain, how do I prove to them I'm an Indian citizen? I produce an Indian passport. Can the French government or the British government say, but how did you get this? Can you show me also your birth certificate in India? No. There is the international convention. If somebody walks in from the United Kingdom or from France, brings a European passport or a British passport, do we question how they got it? No. So that is why the Supreme Court of India said a passport is a travel document. Because if you don't give a passport, you take away my right to travel overseas.
Right.
A ration card is a document which permits you to go into a fair price shop and buy whatever you want to buy at the low rates. For certain purposes, do we use it as proof of residence? Yes. Is it a proof of residence? No. Your Aadhaar card, your tax card. What is your tax card? Tax is to give you an identity of tax. If somebody says, what's your address? I'll say, can I show you my PAN card? They'll say, yeah, that's good enough. So how your citizenship is to be proved has to be decontextualized.
Right.
Your citizenship has to be proved by producing appropriate evidence. Now, suppose a person, a state government, tomorrow, angry with the Modi government, makes a law saying, I will give free gas cylinders to all Indian citizen women who are below a particular income. But you have to prove you are a citizen of India and I will not accept the passport. You can go to a court and say this is an unreasonable condition. Why are you not accepting a passport? So it has to be contextualized. All this is in the context of the special intensive revision where the Election Commission said, I want the following 10 documents. Supreme Court, I think, scaled it down to 3 or 4 or 5. So how your citizenship is to be proved is always in a context. And that context is who is the person to whom you're proving your citizenship. And that person lays down the rules of the game.
Right.
Now, if somebody says, I will not look at your passport as proof, you may go to a court and say this is an unreasonable condition, but that doesn't recharacterize your passport into a proof of citizenship. It is still a travel document.
True.
Your driving license is used so often as proof of your residence, correct? You have a residential address you prove. Is the driving license a proof of residence? No. A driving license is a permit which allows you to drive a car. So that's the confusion which is being created.
Right. And also, legally speaking, the Section 20 of the Passport Act itself allows even non-citizens to be issued passports in certain circumstances.
Because it is a travel document.
Exactly. Exactly. So that itself, establishes why it can't be treated as...
Who in India has said that for purpose X or for purpose Y or for purpose Z, I will not accept a passport? And if in a particular context somebody says, in fact in India it's the reverse, passport is not necessary to prove citizenship. You have to prescribe other means. Because out of 1.4 billion Indians, how many of us have passports?
True. Barely 7 or 8 crores, I think the numbers a fraction.
7 million people out of 70 million people out of 1.4 billion.
Yeah.
So this is such a non-issue.
Right. Right. I think there's also a lot of concern because a passport is issued only after the government does very strict checks, age proof, address proof, etc. is given.
Correct.
As a policeman
but that's what I'm saying. It is one thing to say that somebody is refusing to accept my passport as proof, and another thing to say that the passport is per se proof. A passport is a travel document. Why can I not use it for a different purpose? Of course you can.
Right. Today we've seen... Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, but if you say we need a national identity card, we do, but then we are talking of the National Register of Citizens. And if you talk about that, the conflagration will become worse.
Exactly. We've seen the entire controversy surrounding the NRC itself. But today, Mr. Kapil Sibal has asked which document then is proof of citizenship? Because as per Indian law, if a citizenship dispute reaches court...
I'm sorry, none. It depends. You have to define. If you as a news company say we will only hire Indians to work as journalists, you will define, right? And you can prove this by bringing your birth certificate, your school certificate, your this or your passport.
Absolutely. And the other question...
So this kind of a rhetorical question doesn't help us. What the MEA is talking about is what is a passport. What you are saying is, suddenly, oh my God, a large number of people are going to be disenfranchised. That's not what the MEA is. It's not the MEA's job to talk about when a passport can be used in India. It's not their job. And they're not purporting to. If you read their circular, it's innocuous.
Right. Right. But the larger question, one of the points that you just addressed was that, many people saying that if passports, voter IDs, Aadhaar and PAN cards are not accepted as proof of citizenship, what really, is it high time that at least several decades after independence,
exactly.
We get
NRC, NRC is an important issue, but let's not bring it here. How your citizenship is to be proved. If I am saying prove to me that you are a citizen of India, I must tell you how I want you to prove it, right? Now, in that, if I make a rule saying disregard the passport, you may take me to court saying why? It's the best proof. But does it become a proof of residence, citizenship? No. It is a good way that I can prove it, saying, look, this document is created after a full investigation. And that is not what the MEA is talking about. If you read the whole, I read their thing, it is not what it is about. Just somebody has picked that up and blown it out of proportion.
Right. Do you think this entire controversy also somewhere because the place of birth, the date of birth, etc. is recorded in the passport and the age and the various laws that exist, the various...
The most convenient way of proving, it's the most convenient way of proving your citizenship. But that doesn't change the nature of the document. On a lighter vein, and let's end with this. Obviously, things are going well in India. Hormuz is open. The crisis of the economy may be behind us. So let's find something to get excited about.
Yeah. Mr. Salve, last question I must ask you. Globally, what is the jurisprudence surrounding the legality of the passport as a citizenship document?
Passport is an international travel document. Let's be very clear. Different countries have different, like in Europe, you have the ID card. So every European has an identity card. You may or may not have a passport. And that's really treated as proof of citizenship in Europe. So, in England, you have nothing. In England, Keir Starmer wanted to bring a kind of an Aadhaar card and there was such a rumpus saying, why must you have anything? So, different countries have different systems. America, you have social security card, correct? Is that proof of citizenship? No, it's only a social security card, but it is used for most purposes as a convenient way of proving your citizenship and what you are.
All right. Mr. Salve, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us here at Times Now.